What's up, folks? I'm Dwayne, and this is Blackboard Gaming, where I teach you about all these great board games that are out there, waiting to be played by you and yours. I'm a simple man, don't wanna complicate you. Hey, everybody. Yeah, you're not imagining things. Alicia is not with me today. She has had a lot of big workload for school and church and everything. So I say, hey, why don't you go ahead and take a break this time? Because gives me an opportunity to do a series of videos. This will be the first in a series of videos that I've been wanting to do for a while now. So one of the challenges that I have as being someone that loves board games is actually getting to play them. Now, don't get me wrong. I do get board games played. Thank God for my Friday night game group because, I love meeting up with them when we play a board game that lasts about 2 or 3 hours. But the challenge for me is on other days, because I meet up with them on my off day. On other days, I have my regular 9 to 5, which is more like an 11 to 8. So I work mid-shift. So therein lies the challenge because when most people get together to meet up to play board games, they get together after work. So they start like 5 or 6 o'clock, And I'm getting off at 8:30. So when I get to the meetup at 9, I'm getting there in time to be the spectator of what seemed like a really great game that they were playing. Or I'm helping them clean up the game, because that's what gamers do. So the other challenge is my wife, she works, her day starts early. So when I'm getting off work, she's already nodding off, So if I want to play a game with her, then it has to be one that I could get it in where you could fit it in, be a quick game that's not going to take up too much time. So that has been making me say, I want to do a series of videos where I highlight some games that you could really get it in where you can fit it in. Now I'm going to call them, these are 5 quick board games you can get to the table. But get it in where you can fit it in is where I want to be. And so, and this, like I said, this is the first, and I'm going to tell you about 5 games that meets that criteria. And the criteria is the game is 30 minutes or less, setup included and everything, and doesn't matter about the player count. It still lasts 30 minutes or less. And so, without wasting any time, let's go ahead and get to it. So the first game I want to talk about is a game that made me want to start, made me start thinking about doing this type of video. And that game is Dice Miner. Now, I was introduced to this game at Dice Tower West in 2022. And I really enjoyed my plays of this game. So in this game, first of all, setup is really easy. There's a cardboard mountain in there, in this box. Now, if you got the deluxe copy, you got the plastic mountain, and I'm jealous. But the cardboard mountain, you take it out, set it on the table, and then you take all the dice, and you pour it onto this mountain, and then everybody gets an asymmetric character to play with, and then we can just start the game. So in this game, you are drafting 1 die from the mountain on your turn. And what you're trying to do is score points in different ways. Now, one of the ways, so there are different types of die. There's one die that has 1 to 5 pips on the side. And now usually it has 6 pips, but this die has 1 to 5, and then it has a mug of beer on one side. And I'll explain the mug of beer in a little bit. And what you're trying to do is create sets in ascending orders, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get points at the end of the round. Game's going to last 3 rounds. Now, there's an orange dice that have gems on them, and you're trying to, get the most gems. There's also magic die, and then there's these black die that got dragons on them. And so for every dragon showing, you get a certain number of negative points, unless you get a die with a sword on it. And it changes those negative points into positive points. And then for more swords, they act as a multiplier. And that's the same thing with the rock slides. The rock slides are negative points, but if you have a pitch axe, then that turns that into positive points. And so, like I said, every die has a mug of beer on one side. So let's say on your turn, before you draft your die, you have a die in front of you that has a mug of beer. So you can take that die, give it to another player, and they roll it, keeping the result, and they shout out cheers. And because they did that, they had to take the die, but you get to draft 2 die instead of just 1. And what I really like about this game, like I said, it's easy setup, easy to learn, and I like the strategy in this, and it doesn't take long. We played 2 games in less than an hour, and I love the die in this game. Who doesn't love chucking die? And so that's Dice Miner. This is a great game. So the next game is a game that we've been recently playing, that we got sent this copy of this game for review from Lucky Duck Games. Thank you, Lucky Duck. All these other games I purchased in my local board game store. Always go to your local board game store. But this game is called Nomalia. And I like the way they mixed up animal, added an extra I, And so, first of all, I love my nature-themed games. I love the art on this box. And what you're doing in this game is you're building up a nature reserve. So each, on the player's turn, they're going to draw 3 cards from the deck. And these cards have 3 to 4 different terrain types, like snow, water, forest, or desert, or whatever. And there's also animals like gorilla, polar bear, lion, or whatever. And so what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of these cards, and you're going to play it in your play area. And you're going to pass the other 2 to the player on your left or the player on your right. So that means you're going to get 2 cards. And then you're going to pick one of those cards, and you're going to play it in front of you, your nature reserve. Now, when playing your next card, you have to at least cover up at least 1/4 of the previously placed card. Now, you can actually put that card on top of just completely cover that first card, but you have to at least cover up 1/4. And so what you're doing is you're building out your nature reserve in a 6x6 grid of the terrain types. And you can only go 6x6, can't go further than that. Now, how you're scoring points in this game is each round, there are 5 rounds in the game, and each round there's a number of scoring objectives. There are different scoring objectives, like for every terrain type in your biggest area, like desert, you get 2 points per square. Or if you got the least number of lions, you get 3 points and everybody else gets -2, stuff like that. And those scoring objectives are going to change each round. And it reminds me of Cartographers, the way that you score in that game. And I really enjoyed this game. I played it 2 players with my wife. I played it 4 players. And I love the puzzle that this game provides me. Because, once you get that, you're going to get your 6x6 area mapped out probably like the 3rd round. And now you're sitting up here like, do I want to cover up that polar bear? Do I want to, cover this up because that's going to make me lose points there or something like that. So I love that puzzle that this game provides, And like I said, thank you, Lucky Duck, for sending us this game. I really, really like this game. So the next game is a game I picked up from my local board game store. Deb, my friend at Eternal Games, she had a demo copy of this set up on the table, and I was visiting. She was like, hey, let me show you how to play this game. And this is a game that I had seen before at conventions, but I never pulled the trigger to pick it up. And I'm kicking myself for it, because when she showed me this game, I was like, I want this game. I had to wait a couple of days because it had a street date. But in this, like I said, another nature themed game. And this game is called Dandelions. And in this game, you are simulating dandelions. You have a number of dice, and there's these parks out on the table. And you have a pawn starting on one of the parks. And so what you're going to do is you're going to roll out your dice, and then you're going to pick a die. And depending on that number of pips, like let's say it's a 4-pip die, you're going to take your pawn and you're going to move it to park. And it might go to another park in its movement. And if it lands on somebody else's pawn, then you get to do that number of movement again. And then once you get to that, once you stop movement, you get to place your die in that particular park. Now, if there's anybody else's die in there that matches the number of pips that your die, then you get to move them forward one park or backward one park. So it's got an area control aspect to it. And I love the way it simulates, dandelions. You're blowing dandelions in the wind, And area control is, I keep saying that area control is not my favorite mechanic, but I keep finding games where I love the way they implement it into the game, And that's Dandelions, quick game. This game lasts 15 minutes, and I think it's 2 to 3 players. It lasts 15 minutes, set up easy. This great game. So, the next game is a game. Now, this is the second in the series. We did a review for the first one, and then now they have 3 games that have came out for this, and that's MicroMacro Crime City. So, there's MicroMacro Crime City, then there's Full House, which they say is a more family, like geared towards, play with your kids. And then there's MicroMacro Crime City All In, which I don't know. It's called All In, so I don't know if that one's family. I haven't played it yet. But the reason I'm showing you Full House is because the first one we finished the cases, and then I loaned it to a coworker. I've been telling him about it. And so pretty much this is Where's Waldo meets Gotham City, And so what it is this big map. It's a black and white map of this city. And it's a lot of detail in this city. And there's a lot of crimes that's happening in this city. And so you have some cases, and you have to solve those cases. Like, you might find somebody who had a car accident, and you're wondering, was that really an accident? Or, you might find somebody, some of the cases can get dark, And what you're doing is you're looking to find out what led up to that, because you can see that person at different intervals on the map, like where they were in the car accident, but then you see them when they first got in the car, then you see them walking to the car or stuff like that. And this is really a really, really good game. It won the Spiel des Jahres. I don't remember what year it won it in, but so the cool thing about this game that I really like is just it has a bunch of cases. Once you finish all the cases, you're done with the game. But you don't have to do all the cases at once. So you can come in and just do a couple cases. And then I'll get back to it, put it away. And that's why I included this game on my Get It In Where You Can Fit It In list. Because, you can get that need to play a game out your system real quick. And, then go do what you got to do. So, MicroMacro Crime City, this is a really, really, really good game, Now, the last one is, so, sometimes when you play a board game, you just want to, turn your mind off. It might be an easy game. You just want to play a board game, and it's really simple. But then there's some of those board games that you want to challenge yourself. And so that's why I picked this one. Turing Machine. Now, Turing Machine, what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out a 3-digit code. And you're using this analog computer, like an old school computer. And what you're doing is you write down the code, and then you ask the computer, is this code right? Now, I play this solo. My wife's not going to play this game. This is a game that really challenges your mind. Like, some games when you play it and if you win, you feel good about it. figuring out the code in this game makes you feel smart. I have to say it. It's a punch card computer, and you're sliding, like, once you figure out, like, I want to try this number and this number, and you slide them into this thing, and it's either going to give you a check mark or X to say you got it wrong. And I played this game a few times, and I really, really like this game. And like I said, playing it solo, great get in where you can fit it in game where I can challenge my mind. So those are 5 games that I feel are get it in where you fit it in games, And like I said, this is only the first of the series. There's so many other games that I've thought of for this list, but I wanted to highlight these particular 5 games. Now, feel free in the comments below. If there are any games that you feel are great get in where you can fit it in games, you can leave it in the comments below. And if you like the contents of this video, feel free to hit the like button. Subscribe. I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers now. And I plan on doing a giveaway once we hit 2,000. And I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be really good giveaway. But like I said, 5 get it in where you can fit it in games. I'm Dwayne. This has been Blackboard Gaming. And I will see you next time.